Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast with Ghost Hunting Beauties. Today, we have two incredible guests who have even inspired our show today. We've got Nathan Withers and Beth Huffman from the Withers Film Productions. And boy, have we got a show for you. All right, Nathan and Beth, welcome, welcome. So
How's it
I'm
going?
so excited to have y'all on today. Like I said, Nathan, I've told you today, just let you know, and the secret is that you have inspired some of our show with your incredible work. And Beth, I mean, I bet it's a great adventure doing all the production for this great show. So tell me more about what you guys do. Tell me about Withers Film Productions.
Withers Film Productions basically started. I think that's a load of a question, actually. I want to say it started back in 2015 into 16.
Oh, wow.
I started doing weddings. My wife's sister got married, and that was the first like actual video that I put together that was, I guess, any sort of quality whatsoever. But Beth and I were a part of a team prior to what we are now, and I've always had a vision for storytelling. And with us being in the paranormal field, I've always wanted to showcase and bring stories to life. That's just been my biggest goal and passion.
Oh, for sure.
Once I had the idea, my wife, she basically told me, before you can showcase anyone else, you need to showcase yourself, put yourself out there first, and see how the audience reacts to you.
Smart
And
lady.
that's actually that's a challenging one.
Right?
So I did that, and so what ended up happening was I didn't put any like B-roll, any storytelling shots. It was all, theater of the mind, had some sound effects in there, and it was a sample video, like 5 to 10 minutes, and it was a very personal part of my life that I put out there, and thinking, nothing of it. And within, like, I don't know, a couple of days, like I started getting phone calls, Facebook messages just from people from all over the country, and it has shocked me.
Wow.
Like, this is inspiring people from all over the globe. And some of these people didn't even believe in the paranormal. That's
Oh,
what
I
was getting.
imagine.
And a good friend of mine reached out to me. He's also, a TV show host as well. And he called me and he said, "Hey, I just wanted to inform you of something." I thought, "Oh God, what happened?"
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, 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 seriously. He goes, "What you did is real."
Yep.
He's like, "This is what the paranormal field needs." He's like, "You told a story that was not just from the heart, but it was a personal part of your life that you probably never have told anybody before. And putting
Wow.
that public, that inspired a lot of people.
Mhm.
Um, if I didn't think it had potential to be bigger, I wouldn't be reaching out to you." He says, "This is something you need to make a series from, like create a narrative from this." And
Oh,
so
cool.
ended up happening was I had people from the UK, from all over the country, like actually film their own segments, submit them to me, and I would actually take what they filmed and I created like suspenseful clips for our show. That was for the pilot.
Oh, that's really neat. I like that.
It was just, to me, that was it told me that the formula that I was using for what my narrative was working.
Yeah,
There was something about it that people were liking, and I don't, and I still can't put my finger on it, but like it was the fact that people were opening up about things that they normally wouldn't talk about to people.
for sure.
It was it was like another outlet just opened itself up.
Bringing
And
people together.
yeah,
Mhm.
and the name, my paranormal experience, came from whenever I first made my video. I went to look at the footage and I sat down And I literally just said, "My name is Nathan Withers, and this is my paranormal experience." And I thought, "Oh, that's the name."
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
we
inspirational
were
right there.
we were trying to find a name to call it, but nothing was just sticking. And I finally went. I was like, "Oh, that's the name. That's what it's got to be." And the rest is pretty much history.
I love it. That's pretty incredible. So how did you get involved, Beth? How did you see this vision and you were like, I have to be a part of this?
Well, like Nathan said, we were actually on two teams together. And before we left the other team, we had been talking like a year probably previously about doing something different. The other people on the team weren't really kind of interested in the same thing we were interested in as far as like filming and making
Right.
documentaries and stuff like that. And so we had to start talking because we had a common interest. So whenever he decided to make something with this, like he was just talking about, I was like, I wanna be on board with that. That sounds really interesting. So
Awesome.
yeah.
I love that. I would be too. That's why I think filming the paranormal is so important. So what makes filming these paranormal experiences so important to both of you?
Do you want to
That's
answer that?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the right. Well, like what makes it important? I mean, just, it has been proven to me that I have been put on this earth by God to showcase experiences.
Amazing.
And for so long, I carried that, that I don't want to say guilt, but that fear
Mhm.
of being judged, by God. And I had a person who never met my wife or I before. And when she found out what I was doing, there were things that she knew or picked up about me that she should have never known. And this is not a
Oh,
psychic.
wow.
It's someone who is gifted. And I don't like this was a God visit to me, right?
Very cool.
God giving a message. And she had made it very clear to me that, you fear that, God is gonna punish you or look down upon you because you're doing this, but really you're in this position because he has put you in this position.
Yep.
And I thought, okay. He goes, these things wouldn't be happening if it weren't meant to be.
Right.
And so once that happened, that inspired our first documentary, The Gateway Between Worlds, which is a whole nother can of worms that was just unbelievable. She basically told me that we would go to this location and these certain events would take place, and she was right, but
Oh,
more
wow. She knew?
oh God, it was yeah, it's like
Oh,
she
man. I love
predicted,
that.
but even more happened. Excuse me. Even more happened prior to filming. But to me, it's important because there are so many people out there that don't have an outlet.
Right.
And I feel in my heart that eventually I'm going to have something so special built up. And I want to say an empire because I don't think like that. But I'm
It
gonna
could
have
be an
some,
empire.
yeah,
Look, Beth
something
is about to get on to you. I can see
special,
it in her face already.
right?
What? No, I was kidding.
Created that it's going to become something even bigger down the road that people kind of remember and go, wow, this was unique. Like this was something that, is important. It's his history in the making. So, I mean, to me, my goal with the paranormal is, not just for the entertainment purposes of it, but I want to document and tell stories,
Yeah.
real life encounters of people that it go through traumatic events, just I want to bring their narrative to life and allow other people to get a little taste of what they went through.
Right.
It's kind of like a therapy if you think about it. It really is.
Spiritual therapy, spiritual
Exactly.
healing.
You
And
know,
what
for
about,
me,
yeah,
whenever, you do home investigations or whatever, you're there, somebody's called because something's bothering them in their home or their business or whatever.
right.
Um, So when he came up with this idea, it's like we're showcasing people that are exactly the same people that you go into their homes and investigate. And I think of one occasion that, like, right before we really got my paranormal experience going, was just kind of an investigation that we were doing because we were asked, which involved a lady, and she got contact from her dad at a
Oh,
pizza place we investigated. And this was, I don't know how long ago this investigation was compared to when we started my paranormal experience, but it was just watching her be very emotional. She was, I mean, she broke down crying because she
wow.
was hearing from her dad. I mean, we
Yeah,
were getting clear messages coming through, our equipment confirmation run right after the other, and it was just her. She brought her son in too.
oh, I love
It,
that.
it was very rewarding to watch. So
So
yeah.
there you go. It's like the puzzle pieces came and fit together, and you are
Mhm.
creating an empire together. This is incredible. I mean, I think for me personally, just when even I got started, is before I put film or started going out and doing anything, is I had to ask people what their experiences were. And we didn't get the chance to document all of that, but I see that you do that. And I almost wish I would have went back and documented, but most people are like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want people to know that I had this or
Mhm.
experienced this. But I think by showcasing and almost normalizing this is that we can help others to not feel alone or feel strange or feel that there's something threatening them all the time. Because like
Mhm.
communicating with your dad, that's such a blessing to be able to communicate with the afterlife.
It's kind of funny you mentioned, feeling strange and all that stuff. Like when I first started developing, the pilot and the trailer to the series, a good friend of ours, I hired her to create the organized writing for the trailer, right? And literally what it said was, it's time that I created an outlet for people to express the feelings, experiences that seem unreal.
Yes,
Like, so it's just kind of funny that you mentioned that because that's exactly like how it is.
for
There's
sure.
things we experience that we don't know. We don't know how to process it, and
Right.
we're kind of not so much ashamed, but we don't know how people are going to feel about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I related to that for a second when you said that.
Right. But now that we've got so many paranormal shows starting to emerge, and especially with documentaries like that you are putting out there with these series, people can now start to be more accepted. They can go, oh, I had that experience too. Like I think Jack Osborne mentioned the Hat Man, and then I can't tell you how many people said I thought it was just me. So how many
Mhm.
people are going to watch this paranormal docuseries and go, I thought that was just me. Oh, I had that too. I mean, you're probably going to have people signing up left and right to where you have to turn people down for all their stories because there's
Right,
so many out there. There people are going to come to you and go, thank you for this.
right.
Mhm.
And like I think what really kind of and Beth and I like we've all kind of discussed this topic. We go, do we want to just showcase any story? And for a while, like that was what started us. Just kind of showcasing anything and everything, just to kind of create a small narrative and see like what came of it. Does it work? And how are people going to react to it? Whatever. But like the more that we progressed and we saw how things were coming together and people were reacting, I thought I don't want us to be like every other show that's out there
Right.
or every other production that does, the normal go to location, film, and go home. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Like I want to find a story that is unique, number one, that's never been told, and film it at a location that's rarely used or has never been put on TV before.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, sorry, got something in my
Bro,
eye.
what in the world?
I'm like, don't choke, don't die. Then you'll
No,
be on your show.
I'm
exactly.
like,
Yes. But yeah, like that was a conversation that we've had over the last couple of years, and we've been very fortunate and lucky enough to land a couple locations that really had phenomenal stories that no one knew the backstory of. And when we were able to create that narrative from those stories, and the thing is, we're not just creating, a made up narrative.
Right.
We are taking legitimate history, stories from patients, from people who have passed away, whatever the situation is.
Right.
We're taking that and we're taking factual history and we're creating a legitimate reenactment from it.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking all of the archives, the newspaper clippings, whatever is there, and we're creating a dramatic depiction as accurate as possible.
I love that.
And we're connecting that to our investigation because, I guess my idea was inspired from Paranormal Witness, when that was really a big hit back in the day. And I was watching that and I looked at things that I didn't want to do. I saw what I liked. I was like, I don't want actors to be depicting the events. Like, I want to take out the depictions of experiences and replace it with us investigating, and use, reenactments to kind of tell our narrative. But I wanted to keep things as real and as authentic as possible.
Yes. That's the first thing we vowed to do as well when we started was we said there's not, if it doesn't get caught on camera, then it's not caught on camera. We can talk about it, but you know how things go when you're filming that it's always going to happen right behind you. And then you're like, crap, did I have audio over there? Did I have this? And that was actually going to lead to one of the questions I was going to ask with both of you during this experience. Do you feel that sometimes when you go to these locations that spirits don't want to be filmed or they do things when you turn the camera off?
Oh yeah, all the time.
I have a story that, and this wasn't like during us with my paranormal experience, but we were on this investigation together, and we were at it was kind of a head shop place, like a kind of that kind of place.
Oh, cool.
And we had experienced some things through the night and everything, but nothing major. Definitely nothing really moving.
Yeah.
But as soon as we started packing up equipment and turning all the cameras off and everything was getting put away, they had stacked toilet paper rolls on like a shelf.
Oh my God.
And I was talking to another lady and I watched, it's like somebody went up to it and smacked it off like that.
Oh, wow.
Cameras are off.
Yes.
Beth, I remember Beth, did you fucking see that?
That just happened right in front of my face because, those things really aren't frequent. I mean,
right.
My experience, like poltergeist stuff like that doesn't happen often.
Right?
It's very rare in my, so when you see it, you're like,
yeah. That was season 1 for us. That was when we were filming at Hotel Icon we're sitting there going, okay, the equipment goes off. But I mean, like you said, Nathan, like how many shows have the same stuff repeated, which is great because then people are learning, but we wanted something different. We wanted things to be, active, but without provoking. So I'm angry because they already broke one of my cameras and, you can't sue ghosts. So I'm like, great, they broke my camera. I said, break my camera. And I crossed my arms and I propped my feet up. And then there goes the charger flying across the room. And I went, oh, and we're all sitting there and all of the newbies were all going, holy shit. And then all the Spring Paranormal goes, that's nothing.
That's nothing.
Like, that's nothing for us. I'm like, hey, we're new to this. Cut us some slack. He's like, we're scared.
Scotty. Like something crazy could happen and Scotty could go, yo.
I'll go.
Like, that's how Scotty is. Scotty is one of our production members, really good with cameras. He's actually our gear guy. Like, he is all about the gear,
nice.
All about investigation. But you give the guy a camera, the guy can go film whatever you want.
That's awesome. I love that.
It's awesome. But yeah, anything could happen. Like what you were talking about, he'd go, yo. Like, what do you mean, yo?
Right. You're expecting a different reaction at this point.
That's it. Like,
mine is always curse word, bleep, edit.
Yep.
So far, not me running out yet. I will say I haven't run out of a location yet. I have walked out of one location, but that's it. You ran?
One
Oh,
time.
I got to hear this story now. Why did you run? What happened?
Well, Nathan and I and a guy from the team we were previously on were at this. It was a school at one time, and now it was just a place that they kind of just rented out. And we were upstairs in what was, I guess, maybe the choir room. It had a stage and everything. And I don't even remember exactly what was. We were having really good communication, but it was mostly Nathan and that other guy having the good communication going. And I was just kind of hanging, there. And the next thing I know, it just sounded like something growl, like that. And I could hear it go across the floor towards me because it was hard floor. And I was like, no. So I took myself out of that situation pretty quick. And the staircases, it was an old building, so they're the ones that go like that and go down. I literally went down that staircase with my back to the wall the whole way down. I was like, it was crazy.
Man, I'd be running too. I don't blame you. I don't blame you on that. Okay, so Nathan, has anything on any of these investigations really gotten to you? Like something that you, besides saying yo, went, holy shit.
Yes. Good Lord, now my mom just went. I had an idea. I had an experience, and it just went.
And then it went by.
Yeah, it went by. Beth, help me out because my brain's.
Well, you had that one in the Panhandle Inn where you got thrown across the hallway, basically on live feed, and then you also.
That'll work. I'll talk about that one.
Okay. Wow.
Well, of course, this wasn't a part of my paranormal experience. This was a part of another project we were doing, which this project is still available.
Oh, cool.
To view. It's probably, I think it's the documentary that really got me started in narrative filmmaking. It's called Buried Secrets Paranormal, and it was called Panhandle in Lockdown. That was the film. But the Panhandle Inn was easily one that I want to say it like connected me to the other side in a weird way.
Wow.
And I don't know how to even explain it. But the first experience that I had there when Periscope was a thing.
Yeah. I remember Periscope.
Yeah. Like I had a selfie stick that you could
Oh man.
Going live and whatnot. And we had a group of people that were down the hallway, and they were doing a portal session or something. I don't remember what they were doing. But the motion sensor that was at the end of the hallway kept going on.
Ooh.
And they kept going. They said, "Hey, go make sure that no cars are making that go off." The light. So I'm heading down that hallway, and my body starts to feel very on edge.
Ooh.
And I don't know how to explain the feeling.
Spidey senses.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. And as I got closer, the light turns on and it just stays lit.
Ooh.
And I'm nowhere near it to make it stay that way. I'm just probably 5-10 feet away.
I think we were downstairs whenever this happened because I remember watching you on the camera.
No, that was the second time.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, there's two? Oh, God.
Hell, Beth. But no, the first
She's
time
like, spoiler alert.
Yeah. The first time it happened, the light came on, and I was literally thrown into a bathroom like 2 or 3 feet behind me.
Whoa.
My phone ended up on the other end of the hallway.
Oh,
the
dear Lord.
was busted in half.
Wow.
It was bad. The second time, this is part of the documentary. At least I think it is. I don't remember, but I know something happened. We had a camera set up there because I wanted to face it. And I was like, hey, I'm going to investigate this area.
Yeah.
Because I want to know what happened that night. So, me and another guy went up there, and they were adjusting a camera issue, and I was just standing there, and I started feeling like I was being surrounded.
Oh, that's not good.
And I had a camera in my hand, but there was also a camera, behind me, kind of filming the side angle of me. Out of nowhere, I get pushed again right into a wall.
Ooh, that's
And
violent.
this one was the one where Beth and all of them were downstairs, and they saw it. They came up the stairs and was hysterical and
Wow.
crazy. Are you okay? Blah blah blah. And
Mhm.
I remember leaving that location. This is where it got very personal. We went back like 2 or 3 weeks later, and I was only able to make part of the investigation because I had to work the next day.
Yeah.
Well, I left early. Well, there was about 4 or 5 people in that exact area, and they had an obulus, or they had something that spoke word. Well, they were talking, and out of nowhere, you hear it say, "Nate, sorry."
Whoa.
Like it was apologizing for pushing me.
That's
like, I
on
just
video
bumped into
because I
you.
think I videoed that.
Oh,
Were you there
wow.
that night?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And when I saw the footage, I showed my wife, and she goes, "Yeah, that's there's something going on there." And I think
Yeah.
that's the moment,
Just a
like
little.
in my own mind, I feel like that something within that location and that experience actually linked me to the other side in some weird way. I don't. It's hard to
Wow.
explain. That's how I feel about it. But that
They
was
pushed you into it, literally.
yeah, it was weird. But that's when I knew that the spiritual world knows me by name,
Yep.
and I'm meant to be doing what I'm doing. And
100%.
I was on a long road, so
For sure. So, Beth, what were you thinking when you saw this on camera? Like, I mean, you went into
I
panic
was,
mode, obviously.
oh yeah, because I think what we were doing, we were taking turns doing solo sessions upstairs by ourselves, and it was his turn. I think's what was going on because I remember we were all just crowded around the TV downstairs, just watching him. And I mean, when he flew backwards, first of all I was like, did I just see what I saw? Because
Right?
his body, it looked like somebody hit him very hard on his chest.
Whoa.
And so, I mean, seconds later, we were all going up the stairs, like he said. We were like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And he was still like down on all fours on the floor.
Oh, that
it
must
was
have been.
bad. It was
Man.
bad.
Oh, that was the first time. Yeah. Whenever you were in the
Yeah.
bathroom. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We were like, it's crazy. That was the first thing I've ever witnessed of anybody being shoved in his
Right.
cap.
Being touched is one thing, which that's still scary
Right.
to experience. But when something can physically grab you or push
Mhm.
you, that's another level.
That's another big fear of mine.
Yeah, and that was a location. I mean, if we could film there and make a legitimate narrative, it would be like our farewell to the location.
Yeah.
It's condemned. It's in really bad shape.
It
But
really is.
yeah, if we were able to, get, permission to make a narrative film and tell the story of what the place is,
It's
like
an amazing story.
it would probably be our farewell documentary to that place.
That would be cool. I would watch it. I would be signing up to watch that, especially knowing it's so active. And it's so sad to see that a lot of these places that are
Oh my-
so heavily active are being condemned or torn down, or people can't, keep up with them. And I feel like we're starting to lose some of our history. So I think y'all should get in there, whatever it takes. Get in there.
We've been trying.
I'm
He's been
trying.
trying.
I know how that is. We're the same way.
They told me you can film outside, you can't go in right now. I'm like,
Oh, because safety issues. Like go in with little helmets. Go in with helmets and go, we've got
We're
our
like, we
helmets.
know what the place looks like. We've been in there.
Correct.
We're willing to fall through the floor. It's okay. We will sign papers saying if we fall through the floor, you're good.
Go in looking like you're ready to go spelunking. You've got helmets, you have the
Yeah.
minion goggles, and then you could have the whole spelunking thing and go, we're ready.
This place just has an incredible story. It was built by a man named, with the last name Thompson. I'm trying LL Thompson or something like that. And he was a mayor of Amarillo, Texas. And had gone to New York on vacation and met his wife, who was a opera singer in New York City.
Oh, cool.
And they fell in love, got married, and on one investigation, we actually found some of her singing. And this was like in the early 1920s, and it was really hard. I can't find it again, but we played it in that ballroom, and we got on recorder of a man saying, "Oh, that's nice."
Aw.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Even in the afterlife, he's like, aw.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is when I come in when she says it, starting to go lame.
Aw, boo.
He's like, dude, would you stop mentioning the Panhandle Inn? We can't get in there. I'm like, but
I want to go.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
That's incredible. Wow. So that was going to be one of my next questions as well, is how do y'all find your next place? Like where does the research come into play to find the place when you go, this is the place we're going?
I will mention the Hilson Hotel because, to me, that was a location that was a once in a lifetime opportunity. And, for like nearly a decade and a half, I have driven by this location every single day. And I could feel it like calling out, like it was watching me.
Whoa.
No, it was the weirdest. It's the weirdest thing, but I just never knew who owned it, and luckily one day I got an email saying, "Hey, like, I know you guys came to our house before and things kind of fell through. It didn't really work out as well, but I have a place I think you guys would do phenomenal at." And I went, "Okay, listening." And she's like, "My dad owns the Hilson Hotel." I said,
"What?"
No, before cameras were even a factor in this production, I said, "You know what? I'm going to go there first and do a walkthrough and just kind of see what we're in for, what we're getting access to, all that stuff." And I could not believe the energy that this place had. Because number one, where we live out here in Texas, Pampa does not have that type of energy.
Right.
Like, we're in a very Bible Belt community, which nothing against that. But, anyone that mentions the word paranormal, they're not having it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I went to this hotel, I was just like, whoa, where has this place been for 10 years?
It was calling you. I'm
telling you, like it's a hidden, like no one, like you ask somebody, like, where the Hilson's at? What's that? I'm like, dude, it's in the center of Pampa. How do you miss that building? How do you miss that hotel? I've never seen it. And
it's right across the street. The police station's across the street.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm like, restaurant. Oh yeah, we've been there times, dude. It's right across. Oh, I'm here to pay attention. I'm like,
really? So I was looking at my phone.
Yeah. So, when we got the green light to start a production, of course, the owner was like, "Well, my wife wants you to sign here in case of your production, breaks or whatever." And, we did all the paperwork stuff.
All the fun stuff.
Yeah, all the bullshit stuff. But, when it came down to it, they said, "Hey, how long will this production be?" I said, "I honestly have no idea. Probably a couple of shoots." We thought maybe 2 or 3 shoots would be done. No. Well, this is what's so unique about the documentary and about the filming of it. Every single time we would investigate, we discovered another piece of history that connected to our evidence that we caught the time prior.
That's cool.
So the story that we discovered later on, probably about a half a year in, was a story about this guy named Dr. DeZita, and he was a con artist. And he, what's the word I'm looking for? He was an agent for strip clubs and strippers. Like he basically did. Like,
they had agents.
Yeah, like it was the weirdest thing. Like he would hire women to travel with him back to California, Los Angeles, whatever, and he would pay them money to do all these crazy things. Well, he ended up putting an ad in the paper here locally about hypnosis.
Oh, weird.
Oh, it gets weirder.
Oh God.
A lot older, actually. And he would basically bring these women back to his room and he would try and hypnotize them.
Oh dear
Like,
Lord.
and like, there's no proof that he did any crimes as far as like, raping women or doing anything
Right.
like that.
He didn't
But,
Cosby them. It was just hypnosis.
well,
Yeah.
there's a lot of crazy history, but like we can never find any proof of anything that was violent in nature that he
Yeah.
did in that sense. But like there was a newspaper clipping that we found where he places a woman in a window of
What?
a old furniture store under hypnosis for like 24
What?
hours, and he charges like a 20 to 25 cents for people to come view her. And it says in the film or in the clipping, watch her eat, watch her sleep.
Wow.
So, and it's actually documented. We actually have a sign-in card too.
Oh,
He
neat.
he checked in into the hotel in 1932 for about 4 to 5 days, and in those 4 to 5 days, he went to the newspaper and promoted that he was doing these crazy, bizarre events, and he was
Wow.
taking women to his room.
Oh
So, I
gosh.
mean, just the investigation lasted a year. Our entire production lasted a full year.
Wow. Holy moly.
And in that full year, we came up with a 42-minute documentary
Right?
of it, you know.
Man.
But the best part about it was, it was the first time that a paranormal crew, a film crew, was able to go in this place and legitimately tell a unique story.
Mhm.
You
I
know,
love that.
you're getting all the terrifying experiences and our investigations and all that stuff, but more importantly, you're getting a piece of history that has been buried in a
Yeah.
small town in Texas for nearly 100 years, if not longer.
That's what I love about y'all because that's something that I personally or a lot of people would never know about. So it's not something like, oh, 20 teams have gone here. You guys get to be the first to uncover something that we had no idea about, which is even more amazing.
Yeah,
I love that.
it was good. I know, like whenever Beth went there the first time, she had some pretty cool stuff. Like she was really intrigued by everything.
Yeah, it was used at one point for, I think, wasn't it like a home for moms, like unwed moms and stuff like that? Or was it just that the women worked there? There was ladies that worked there and
Yeah.
lived there. And well, I think it was like I don't know what it was originally, but it looked like it used to be a daycare room. It had stuff painted on the wall for kids.
Oh,
And I got to talking with a spirit box, and it came through with a mom and a little kid.
oh,
Yeah, and the little kid had got sick and passed away.
well, that's
But then
sad.
it was really sad because the mom was real weepy while she was talking. You could hear emotion in her voice.
Oh,
But there's this man or a deep manly voice that kept coming through and trying to block them talking to me.
doesn't that always happen? Never fails.
And I kept telling him, I said, you need to be quiet because I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to this mom and her son. So
There you go. You tell them.
allow them to talk? And that was a crazy experience because you could hear the emotion in the mom's voice through a spirit box. It was pretty crazy. So
You're like, I will go slap you into the next
you let
dimension.
them
Wherever
talk.
you're at, you about to go somewhere else.
Yeah, go upstairs.
I tell that it always seems like a lot of investigations we go to that there's usually I've always wondered this, and I wonder if you guys have come across this as well on a lot of the investigations you've done. Is it seems like there are spirits that are running the place. There's spirits that'll want to talk to you, and then there's some that are kind of bullies running the place, going, "Oh, the gatekeepers," as I call them. Have you come across a lot of those?
Oh my God, she said the gatekeeper.
Gatekeepers. I call them gatekeepers because they're like,
Oh my
boom, you're
God.
not talking to them anymore. Look at me. And I'm like, look, you had your time.
Well, it's crazy you mentioned that because one of our older episodes from season one, we have a 4-part series that we got distribution for and all this stuff.
Love
The
it.
season finale was called The Gatekeeper.
See, I'm telling you, gatekeepers right there.
I had an experience that was probably the most intense, terrifying, intelligent communication I think we've ever went through. So I was just when you said geek, just, oh my.
I'm tapping in. That's what I told you. I have gifts. I'll tap right in.
Yeah.
I don't mean to do it. I don't mean to do it. It just happens. But yeah, I've come across a lot of gatekeepers as well. So I figured maybe y'all had them ghost bullies, or I call them afterlife narcissists.
I like that. That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, what about Malvern? Tell her about what we kind of based upon our investigating at the Malvern.
Oh, yes. Tell me about Malvern.
Malvern Vernon. Yeah. Tell her about that. The number one.
Yeah. So our second investigation, we went back to basically, finish filming for what we had, had started prior, a few years, before, because our first trip over was really just kind of, it was, number one, it was cold. It was winter.
Oh, I hate cold investigations.
Well, we love them, but this one was like next level wet cold. Like, it was awful. We had a Friday and Saturday, which, Friday we got there. My wife and I, we all stayed at the Airbnb area. And then Saturday morning, we got up, we drove 30 minutes to the location, and we literally just got a tour. Like, that's all it was. We filmed a big tour.
Right.
So once we left home, 2 years go by, and we go back to Malvern. Well, as we're starting to film, for the episode, Josh Hurd, who is the owner of the location, starts talking about this new phenomenon that he's been experiencing. It's been presenting itself as a number, not as a person. And he just the most unreal, next level, terrifying, sinister shit you've ever heard before. And it kind of all put us on edge. We're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I could imagine.
You know what I mean? And the story he told us was he was in a patient's room whose name is Gracie.
Mm-hmm.
And one night he was having a conversation like he would normally do. And when all of a sudden, all the little gadgets he had on, he kept hearing, he's coming.
Ooh.
He's coming.
That's when I start going.
He's here. You have to leave. And he goes, and all of a sudden, dude, everything, all the gadgets that I had, flat. A location flat. I got goosebumps just thinking about it.
You gave me goosebumps. Look, I have right here.
Flat lines.
Oh.
Which means all the activity we were getting before and the residential spirits, done. They're gone.
Wow.
He said, I know where I start on my EVP recorders, I start getting these like laughing. It's like it starts off as laughing and it says, I will get you.
Ooh, nope. See, out. Bye. I'll do a bit. I'll be gone.
He's not intimidated easily. Like he's like, I'm not gonna let you talk shit to me. Like, you don't run this motherfucker. Like, that's how he is, you know what I mean? And he goes, what if I just tried to get rid of you? And he goes, it literally said, bring God.
Ooh.
That was the response he got. Now, we don't have this on documentation.
Oh.
That's what a personal experience of his was.
I got double chills now. Now I have on both arms. You started with one and we've worked to the second arm. Ooh.
Well, this thing has been calling itself number one. That's what it called itself. It didn't call it a name. It called itself number one.
Oh, wow. And,
of course, we leave the location. 10 months later, I get an email from Josh. He decides to make a YouTube channel, and he starts documenting day-to-day investigations on all the stuff that's been going on. And every investigation got more and more disturbing, sinister. And it even got visual. Visual manifestations.
Wow. That's heavy.
So he calls me and goes, I need you and your crew to get down here now. Like, we need to schedule another production. I want to legitimately try to figure this out. So we go down there, and we're doing pre-production, and he's telling me, he goes, dude, I don't know what this is, but the activity has gotten 3 times as worse than what it was before. He's like, this place used to be pure. Like, you would come to this location and have a good experience or a good scare occasionally.
Right.
But this is something completely different.
Till
And
number one stepped in.
I don't know what it is, but it's really beginning to freak me the fuck out because I've actually had to leave because it's terrified me to points.
Man.
So what he ended up doing is we ended up finding this new story because I said, hey, so you mentioned going into Gracie's room last time. Like, what is her history? And that's where our narrative starts. Like, that's where things get very interesting with the narrative. And this is where the concept comes from and where our theory is. So Gracie, we don't have a last name.
Just Gracie.
She was institutionalized most of her life.
Oh, terrible.
She was diagnosed with DID and schizophrenia. And I guess often they would hear, a male voice coming from her room, which that was a big no-no. Having males in their room was just not going to happen. The nurse would run to her room and just find that Gracie was there.
Mm-hmm.
She was able to disguise her voice to sound male.
Oh, that's creepy.
They were
This is all documented too by the nurses.
It's all
that's even better.
Yeah.
They were able to document very distinguishable and separate 14 different personalities.
Wow.
Now, this is where it gets a little bit more of a theory. When Josh sent us the footage, we were wanting to know, like, okay, all this visual activity that you caught, did you just are you capturing her personas, part of her personality in our reality? Like when she passed away, did these spirits in her mind get released when she passed and now manifesting into our reality?
Oh, wow. Wouldn't that be something?
Because, spoiler alert here, when you watch the show, or I'll even send you the documentary for this, by the way. When you watch the film, there is a part where he walks up the staircase and he's just commenting, and all of a sudden you see two figures on the floor break the light. Well, one comes in and then one follows it. They both join together and they move on.
Oh, wow.
It was like they were walking in front of each other. Like you see this one go by and then there's another one like that.
Whoa.
And he went directly to that window.
It's
no cards.
Whoa. So like they were almost combining forces, you think?
It's honestly, this is my theory on it. I feel like Gracie I feel like number one is a manifestation of Gracie.
Oh,
because you see the trailer. Spoiler that again. Beth plays the role of Gracie.
I get two. Yeah.
Yeah, Beth plays the role of Gracie. You can edit this part out if you need
to. We'll edit this part out.
There's a segment like where we filmed the reenactments where Beth is walking up and she puts her finger in front of her face to symbolize number one. And we think Gracie is the number one.
Whoa.
And so like our investigation with Beth and Kara, because there's just me, Beth, and Kara that were there. Kara was up in the attic, Beth was downstairs, and they were kind of doing an essence method, And Kara would mention, she'd say, is Gracie, or is number one a manifestation of Gracie? Like instantaneously, you would see these like weird blinks of light appear above her. Like just weird things would happen.
Like orbs, or like they were something else?
Well, it was nothing. No, those little things weren't there. She was up there for probably a good 10, 15 minutes. You didn't see none of that. And then she mentioned what he said, and they just showed up in one spot above her head, not around her anywhere else. There was not flying, dust or whatever. It was just little bitty ones right above her head. They showed, and then they were gone. And it was crazy.
Man. Because we've had a lot of people on investigations see flashes of light at time too. And I always start rubbing my eyes thinking, oh, I'm tired. It's 2 a.m, coffee. I'm trying to, I think that's one thing is we doubt ourselves, but especially if you can showcase something like that, we know that's part of paranormal evidence during your investigation.
Well, I also want to make something very clear to any viewer that may question this. I'm not going to sit here and say that what is on that camera is an orb or any manifestation. Right. I don't know. All I know is in that moment, it manifested, and it didn't blink, and then move. It went boom.
Ooh.
It would just blink in like 2 or 3 different times. And then that's whenever we would get responses that said protect, and it would go from Gracie.
Ooh.
It was Gracie's was mentioned a couple of times. And I remember Beth was talking in the Estes method. Beth, I'm gonna let you talk about that story.
Oh, yes. I love the Estes method, so bring it on.
That was a pretty freaky situation. I decided I would just set myself outside the door where Josh had seen the 2 shadows go together. And because I was at a point where I wanted to get some action or get something to come through. So let's just do it right here. So the whole time I was talking, I kept hearing coming through the spirit box saying, I'm going to take her. I want to take her, something like that.
Oh, whoa.
And it said something like I'm going to hit her in her head, and there was another voice that was saying no, leave her alone. Basically, back and forth, and like the door to the room that was to my this side was where all those shadows were, and I could feel like if somebody walks in a room, if you can't see them, you can still feel their energy.
100%.
And it just felt like somebody was leaning over the top of me, like real close to me.
Creepy.
Yeah. Oh. Pretty freaky. I don't know if I told everything. I'm not really good at remembering all the stuff that happened. He videoed it and edited it, so he may remember some other things I said, but
a lot of things you probably aren't talking about now. Yeah. So everything Beth said, absolutely true.
Yes.
So, but there was at one point, like Kara was at the other end of the hallway talking, right? And the thing was, like, I can tell when Kara is threatened by something, because the things that Beth was saying were very intelligent, like almost taunting. Ooh. In a way, with like not like how we would taunt, but just very touchy questions. Like you ask a question, it would ask you a question back.
Oh, see, you got ghost narcissist, ghost sarcasm.
It was very weird. I don't remember what the question was. All I remember her saying is, "Who are you?" or something like that. And then Beth comes through and it says, "We come together."
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And that's when I was like, "Holy shit, that's the 2 figures right there. That's the 2 figures."
See, that's why I was wondering if they were like working together or coming together to combine their energies. Because I think same as with us, that it translates into the afterlife or whatever is on the other side, is that just like you 2 are working together and you bring each other vibrational energy up, I think that spirits, that since they're not attached to a body, that they can do the same, that they can work together, which gets the poltergeist activity and gets to where they can touch you and do different things that maybe just a random spirit walking by wouldn't be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly tell you, like Malvern was the turning point for our production crew, because when you don't have anything to make a reenactment with, or actors, or those things, that's when you come together as a production.
Yes.
And make something work. And when Beth came and played the role as Gracie, like I think that was a defining moment for her. Because she was not only able to play that role the best way I've ever seen any role played, but
she's like,
I'm not kidding. Beth nailed that character on so many levels. And the thing is, Beth went to the degree of she like literally stripped down nothing but like sports bra and like pajama shorts, right?
There you go.
Threw on this
full
gown. Commitment. I'm pretty sure this gown was original to the hotel. I don't know if it was Gracie's or not, but I know it was original to the hotel.
Oh, I hope it wasn't Gracie's.
But she ended up connecting with like Gracie's personality. Like we were reading the book, the page. It had one page that had all her information on it.
Oh, neat.
So Beth was sitting there reading all the information and trying to we're trying to mold and sculpt this narrative to best create our most accurate version of what Gracie would have went through.
Right.
And so, I feel like she connected with her history. And,
Cool.
In a sense, we were able to give the audience a little bit of what Gracie went through, like what her mind saw, the chaotic mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So, when
That's
we
really
came
neat.
to this production, Beth and I had a long talk about all this. And I was like, dude, you realize what we have has never been done on TV before.
Yeah.
Like this concept is unique. And I told my distributor about it, and he was just floored by the idea. And he said, so wait a second, are you telling me this is the supernatural meets multiple personalities? I said, exactly.
Yes. That
He's
is
like,
something
that
unique.
is fucking terrifying.
Well, you know what I've always, while we were there, I was thinking about, who knows? Some of those, I do realize that she was medically diagnosed with it, and I believe that she had it. But who's to say that some people with split personalities like that one of them's not more than just a split personality?
Exactly.
You never know. And so we kind of just started playing with that idea, like, what if? Because all the other things we were documenting during the investigation, it just kind of was like, what if this is why this is happening? And really, it maybe wasn't one of her split personalities, but something that was attached to her and was basically attacking her.
Yep.
And she wouldn't I felt so sorry for her. I don't know how long we filmed the reenactments that day, but
I think it was
throughout.
16 hours.
Huh?
I think about 16 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when we were done, like as the day went through, like I could, like I felt like I connected directly to Gracie, and I could feel her emotions, by the end of the day. And it was just totally different from when we started. The day was completely different. I really feel like I connected with her by playing her.
Yeah. I bet she appreciated that too, because a lot of times we are retelling their stories, and a lot of times we're seeing their experience. And I feel that sometimes, and I'm sure you guys could probably agree, is that sometimes they'll show us how they passed away if it was something tragic, just so that they could share their experience with us, because it's not being retold, or as you've probably seen a lot of places too, is that it's the rumors or different things, but she can actually show you, through you immersing yourself in that experience. That is incredible.
It's
That's
one
very
of the
special.
most rewarding and kind of scary situations at the same time that I've ever been in. So
Right. I agree. We did that in Yorktown. We put me in a wheelchair, and people thought I was just being quirky like I normally am, because I'm like when you're in a really scary place, you're trying to have a good time because you want to keep that energy up here. Because if you start getting into the fear, I think whatever's there will feed off of it. I think of it as silly as Monsters, Inc., that they thought that they had to scare children, but at the same time, they got just as great energy making them laugh. So I'm like, ha ha,
I love it.
He's laughing. He's like, hey, I'm a big kid at heart. I'm sitting there. I'm like going in like Sully.
My wife's a big Disney person, so yeah. We have a friend who had the glasses. They're all pointing. I'm like, Mike Wazowski.
Oh my God.
You called me that because of my new glasses the other day. He goes, you look like you work in the DMV.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, we have to see those. We have to see. If you can find those before we're done, we need to see the Wazowski glasses. I can't do it as good as you, Nathan. I tried.
But no, Malvern was a turning point for us visually. Beth came by. Like, Beth had never really understood what, the editing process was like.
Yeah.
And she wanted to kind of get into that more. And I said, hey, then come by the house on a couple of Saturdays or whatever, and just kind of, see how the process is done. See how a narrative is actually, like, see how one little sequence that big is put together. And so she came by, and her eyes were like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So one little sequence he's talking about took about 15 or 20 minutes for something that was like that long.
Yep. For sure. We spend hours going through evidence with, a lot of people don't realize that you have only so much time to edit things down and to condense. So it's no fabrication. It's not that you're using tricky editing, is that you have to break it down to, our attention spans, especially with TikTok, are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Hence why
Right.
it's good to show highlights, teasers, trailers, and then capture the audience. And it's always very tricky to do that, to make sure you tell the authentic story, be visually representing everything that's going on, and then show them what this is, the true experience, because you want them to feel like they're there. Because most people are not going to step out and do the stuff that all of us are doing. And I don't blame them. It can get dangerous.
See, that's the thing. Like we've also had that conversation too about keeping the audience in. And, like for me, I'm like, whenever my distributor signed us, he kind of reshaped me, kind of rewired like my thought process and how I go about my editing process, and structure, like with the structure, I am so much about the story. Like I have to know, like if the story doesn't flow, then to me, without the story, the evidence is just shit. But that's just it's just a bunch of crazy responses that have no meaning to them. And I hate to say it like that, but
No, that's the truth. That's the
you can
truth.
have the best Class A response in the world, but if you have no legitimate narrative to back up that claim of a history clip or whatever it is,
Mhm.
it's useless. You know what I mean? And so when
We learned that in season 1. That's what we learned, is that we were actually, because we go back and we want to make sure that we want to be able to immerse people in the experience, kind of like how you do as well, and to take them on the adventure with us for those who don't want to go on it or scared or at least want to feel part of it. And a lot of times people, when it got to the ghost hunting, they start dropping off. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm failing at telling the story appropriately to keep everything flowing. So that's something we definitely learned. But by the time we got to our season finale, definitely we're picking up on the history. And sadly, though, some locations, it's all rumors and legends, and it's hard for us to present it.
When you're strictly like only able to tell certain things and only certain things are available,
Yep.
make it what you have.
Yep.
Make it into something that's just wow.
Yes.
Take everything you have and use it at your disposal and create and activate their imagination. Make them think, hey, when you start putting a narrative like that, like Malvern, we can't prove that's Gracie. We can't. There's no evidence to prove that she's the one manifesting.
It's got to be.
But that's our theory, right?
It feels like it.
Right.
Before we aired the film, I was like, dude, this film is too, like, this narrative is too special. Like, I want to the waters I want to screen it privately to some friends and just see what their thoughts are. And we did this for probably 2 or 3 months before we finally said, all right, let's give it a try. Let's see where it goes. But, every person that watched the film, like the rough cut, right?
Right.
The story is unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
It's disturbing. And you literally experience the pure terror that it manifests.
Yes.
And the evidence is unbelievable. And we've never seen anything like it before. And I'm like, that's exactly why I haven't released it, because I want to everything starts off as an idea. Yeah. Will it work? Will it not? And so me and Beth finally decided, hey, we're going to release it and just see how it does. And, it's become, I don't want to say a fan favorite, but it made a lot of people not just experience the film, but they were participating in I was getting YouTube comments before I took it off. I was getting YouTube comments of times, markers. I heard a voice here.
Oh,
they were
neat.
I love stuff like that.
Me too. Absolutely.
Some of those things that they were marking, I was able to debunk. Like, no, that was me. That was Beth.
Right.
We probably they were participating. And I'm like, dude, that's never happened to us. Well, that tells me whatever formula we used in our narrative, it is interesting and it's got people talking.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like that was the same for the Hilson too. I felt like we kind of had the same outcome with that one too.
I feel like Hilton had more of the having you with us on the experience, like she was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Hilton had that effect more than anything.
I love that. We've been getting the same kind of thing. And I get people sending me stuff to go through as well. And especially being a medium, that are some people are trying to, I started getting overwhelmed for a while. And then I had to kind of pump the brakes. I think I pumped the brakes for probably about 4 or 5 months. I felt bad because then I didn't take a full hiatus, but I don't know if it's the same with you guys, especially filming for a year. How does this drain you to the point like to where I have to be passionate about this and you get up and do it again?
I think a lot of that falls on him.
Yeah.
We get to do the fun part. Yeah, I'm busy when we're, on location and everything, and I help out as much as possible. But after all that's all over,
Right.
he's every day on something to do with it. So,
Yep.
For me, like I'm a workaholic when it comes to the production side of it. You know, I am all about earning things. I'm all about, learning and evolving my skill set. That's how I'm wired. And if I take a break for too long, I get, antsy. I have to go out
Right.
and do something. But, it's what I live for.
I
You
love it.
know, this is what my career is.
Yes.
And it's the only thing I have any desire to want to do. Like I have no that's the only thing I'm good at. Let's put it that way.
I love it.
Passionate. It's the only thing I'm good at. It's the only thing I fully understand. And like every time we tell a narrative or anything, like I just get the biggest adrenaline rush ever. Especially when a narrative comes together so smoothly and beautifully.
Yeah.
That's when it's a win for us. And then, so I don't know, like
That's wonderful.
of course, I have to get off the computer,
Right.
go be with my wife because she's like, hey dude, you've been on here for like 12 hours straight.
Yep.
So I
Right.
mean
your wife's so good about what you do, though. She's very
That's
supportive.
awesome.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you
But
know when you're with the right one, because my husband is not into the paranormal. I tell people I have a debunker on site because I'll go, did you hear that? And he goes, no. Like if we had a show together, that would be the entire show is things coming at me. I would be seeing them and he'd go like, didn't see it. Nope. Okay. Bye.
My husband's a believer, but he's like, he doesn't want to go do it with me, but he's like cool with me going to do it, have fun. I mean, I've been doing it. We've been married for 25 years and I've been
awesome.
investigating pretty much the whole time. So he's like, you enjoy that. You were doing it before we got married.
Oh,
And yeah, he's real cool about it.
that's really cool. Like that, the love and support that our spouses show us, that's pretty epic. Especially, I've seen people that do it together, but I'm kind of glad that he separates it from himself. But I mean, he has changed his views since working and filming because we in the haunted jail, I'll give you an example, is that we're sitting there filming. There's no one else, anyone there. And the town is super quiet. And that's in the old Lavaca County Jail. And everything is quiet. And then suddenly you start hearing footsteps. And then you hear a jail cell slam. And those things were heavy back in the day. And he just goes, cool. I was like, you're not scared. I'm sitting there having a meltdown going, oh. And I'm the only one having a meltdown. And he's just like, cool. I don't think anything would scare him. That's why I was wondering what scared you guys earlier. Because I'm like, is it just me that gets scared? I know at least you've run out before. I haven't run yet, but I've come this close. This close.
Yeah. I can't even scare my husband at home.
Something's gonna happen. I go, cool.
Yep. See? That's why I said that sounds like my husband. Yo.
So we have this thing, on our set. Like if we have an idea, we go hate it.
No, what? Hate it?
That's our logo. That's our meme for love it.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
He sends a video on text message and we go hate it. Loathe it entirely. No, I was kidding.
Loathe entirely.
Idea for an investigation approach on one of our shoots one time, and I said, "What do y'all think?" Scotty goes, "Hate it," and I went, "What?" He goes, "Hate it."
Scotty's our random guy. He does random stuff. It's hilarious. He doesn't even know he's doing it.
Oh, I love it. What's the longest investigation y'all have had to do? Like the longest amount of time that y'all sat there with instruments and filming?
Hilson, hands
Hilson?
down, Hilson. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hilson was a year, and I think each time we did investigation, we tried to lessen the noise as far as like our communication, because the spirit
Yeah.
box is fun and everything, but after a while it just gets so annoying.
Yes.
Like the noise, I'm like, okay, I think I gotta stop.
Right.
We would go in there. We would show up around 2 or 3 because, we would do other things during the day, like B-roll shots, getting filler shots,
Yeah.
or whatever, and interviews if we have that. But like we would spend like 3 o'clock in the afternoon to like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning,
Yep.
like
That's
the
us.
whole day.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, and the thing is, like I guess what people need to realize, if they're looking to get into this kind of thing, but they have to think the paranormal and the film world are totally separate deals. They're completely separate
Right.
entities. Now, if you choose to pursue the paranormal and start filming documenting your investigations and try to create a narrative, that's a whole nother ball game.
Right.
Because then you're having to legitimately tell a narrative, and there's so many hours of production and interviews, I mean, there's just nonstop things that happen, and some people just do it because they want just the paranormal.
Yeah.
But when people go, "How long does it take you to film?" I'm like, dude, like filming and the paranormal are completely separate things.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a personal experience, but once you start rolling cameras, like you're on a more professional level than you are just a personal experience.
For sure.
So,
We
yeah,
had from, I think, our last investigation this past weekend, which is why I probably look a little bit ragged still. Like I'm still recovering, how they call it, the paranormal hangover. I think
yeah,
probably people in their 20s who go and do this, like what Sam and Colby, they can go out there and probably keep going nonstop.
Yeah.
And me, I'm in my mid 40s. I'm sitting there going, I'm tired and I'm hungry and I just want to go home. It's like, I'm so tired. Because then we film our post interviews afterwards, and those are usually about 4 or 5 in the morning after we just had crazy experiences. And
hell,
see, so we look, and we're still trying to put on lashes and makeup and hair because it's all the brand. And so we're all going, oh God, I'm really tired. And sometimes James, like he will conduct the interviews, he sleeps. No kidding. We've had to cut off cameras because we're like, what is that noise? And he's going, he's like on his side snoring.
yeah,
We legit thought we had a demon in a church and in the church portion, and everyone is running and frantic, and there he is asleep on his side. He was done. He'd been going for 48 hours at that point, 48 hours nonstop, very few food breaks. Like we're pretty devoted, like you said, but film and the paranormal are different because I have to be on the show and then go back and go to each little location and film, behind the scenes stuff here, a little movie magic. I have to go behind and make sure and monitor that everybody's safe. We have to make sure that everything's flowing. If something's not happening, I'll wrap it up and go, okay. Or if they say get out, I'll cut it. I go, nope. I'm like, they don't want us at this part. We'll go somewhere else. We'll find someone who wants to talk to us and try to be respectful as I can.
And he's laying there and he wouldn't even know if a ghost was breakdancing next to him.
Right. Oh man, I'm telling you. My husband was snoring the whole time because I feel so bad. So we don't have a huge production or crew. Like that's kind of our goal for season 3 to come into, bring more people in if we can, or figure out how to do that. Because that's been one of our logistical challenges right there.
I have a question for you now.
Oh, go right ahead.
How many people do you have in your production crew? What kind of cameras do y'all use?
You saw him. Right now, that's him. Sometimes from Spring Paranormal, Todd will step in and hold sound or hold a camera or babysit a camera. But for editing, production, everything's that one man right there doing it all and still full-time working 18-hour days on top of that. So that's why I said that's love. That's love.
That is
love. But we we had our first crew quit. We had sound people, camera people. They quit when flashlights turned on. They went, oh, this is real. And they left.
What this? I quit.
Like, I was like, I had everyone sign waivers going, you may get scratched. Things will happen. Something may follow you if you don't protect yourself. I am not liable if you wake up and a ghost is in your bed. Like this, I had a long waiver for him. And so I thought, surely they know what they're getting into. And then everyone, including sound people, all quit. My whole first episode was scrapped. Everything was gone. I went, you gotta be shitting me.
That's hilarious.
But like you said, it's a God calling. It's one of those things that I was called to do this. So no matter what, I'm going to keep pushing forward like you guys. And apparently, like I told you, you didn't realize that your cinematography and the way you present yourself and your show was part of what inspired us as well.
Well, I mean, that's incredible. I honestly had no idea. That's awesome.
That's why I know you're building an empire, and Beth's going to keep reminding you now that she knows you're doubting yourself, she's going to keep reminding you. So where can everybody watch all of these incredible documentaries and all of your series?
Well, right now it's difficult because
right.
I feel like, we're kind of everywhere right now, but as of right now, the series is streaming. It just actually debuted exclusively on the Spirit Realm Network.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I know before we were on Cineverse and the YTA network, because that's a live television production. But like as far as our show goes, we're on the Spirit Realm Network, and that's where our future episodes are going to be because we just signed a deal with them to create a series for them. And I will tell everyone this. There has been a green light for a sequel to Melvin.
What?
Yep.
Nice.
Production with that very soon. As far as Hilson goes, that can be watched on Roku. Like you can download the Roku app or whatever and go to YTA Network. That's a broadcasting network. You can watch it on there. It will be also available on the Realm Network as well soon. It hasn't been announced yet. It'll be on there soon. Other than that, that's really it. And follow, our Facebook page, of course, you can follow us there.
Right. And then you've got myparanormalexperienceseries.com, right?
Yeah, that's our website.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that is amazing. I really appreciate that you let us peek behind the curtain of the big production that goes on and sharing both of your experiences, what it's like working with the paranormal and what it's like to film all of this. I know it's not easy. I know it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but I mean, the way I see it is if you keep grinding and do what you love and find your vision, I mean, you can make anything you want come to life.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both for coming on today. For viewers, we will be able to post links. We will post everywhere that you can find these incredible people and these incredible productions. Don't forget to watch in every channel, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel as well. And this has been Ghost Hunting Beauties, and we'll see you next time.